podcast where we will be covering 100 films in the history of cinema, from A Trip to the Moon to Parasite and everything in between, except for Woody Allen.
I mean, you expected it to change. It's not going to change. Fuck you, Woody Allen. That's
Fuck
right. If you're
Woody
still listening
Allen.
to this, Woody Allen, fuck you, man. It's done. We're not going to change our opinion on it, okay?
Ever.
Even though you just came out with a movie with Timothée Chalamet, it doesn't change anything. We're not going to watch it. You know why? Because fuck you.
Is he in...
We're taking a stand here.
Is
okay?
Woody Allen in Dune? Or what is he in?
No,
he's a
I was like,
director.
what the heck?
he directed a movie that had Timothée Chalamet, and I'm not even going to name it.
That's fine.
Because we're never going to watch it.
Big sad.
Also, like, come on, Timothy. Why
That's true.
Why you do this?
I guess I can't marry him.
It also had Elle Fanning in it. And I was like, oh, if it wasn't a Woody
I know what
Allen
you're
movie,
talking
I would
about.
watch it, you know?
That's fair. I really love Timothy, though.
I know, but I can't do it, you know? Because frick that guy, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Well, okay.
It's funny. I've been
Here we
trying
are.
to swear less, like, in general in my life, but, like, then I turn on this podcast, and I'm actually contractually obligated to say fuck Woody Allen, so it's like,
Contractually obligated.
exactly.
You are.
Pretty
I am.
much.
I
And
meant to
you
do-
are contractually obligated to mention.
Gosling.
There you go.
Wow,
just have
tired.
to get it out of the way now. What was it? Things we have to get away just right at the start of the episode. Fuck Woody Allen. Ryan Gosling fucks. He big monkey.
He big monkey.
No,
Also, my
no.
name is Hannah.
Oh,
My
yeah.
name is Reese.
I'm Hunter.
Strange
guy in the
man
corner.
Yeah, he's got
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
That guy with the apples.
Yeah.
That was the thing we said
Mhm.
at one point.
I know, yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't remember that until editing those episodes yesterday. I was like, apple jokes.
I mean, no, we edit them. We actually, well, I mean, that's the important thing to know is we don't actually edit them. We just listen to them over. We don't make any edits. You were hearing exactly what our conversation was.
Yeah.
And then we upload it the same day. So I don't,
Yeah.
when you say a few days ago, obviously you're meaning like a month and a half ago or something. But
Right.
but yeah, right. You remembered it then.
Uh-huh. I did think it would be really funny if we just told people what day we're recording this on, just to, like, explode people's brains.
We were recording this the day after you listened to it.
Exactly.
Don't ask questions. Just listen.
Well, wasn't that a thing we were saying at some point that, like, we don't actually...
Oh.
Like, we just do it live?
We do live,
and
yeah.
then
Oh,
we
So-
yeah.
stop, and we have to start over again for each new person.
Yep. It gets really complicated
Yeah.
when two people tune in,
Yeah.
so don't tune
Please,
in.
guys, only one at a time.
Yeah,
How many times do we have to
please.
say this?
So selfish. I do want to say I watched La La Land last night,
Mm-hmm.
Good job.
and I got to see Ryan Gosling in his glory, and I still have yet to recover
Mm,
from the first time I watched La La Land.
dang.
I just felt like that was an appropriate place to say that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Was your
Sigh.
love renewed?
It really was.
Yeah.
Like, that movie makes me so sad. It also, like, refuels me creatively for some
Mhm.
reason, and I get to see Ryan Gosling's
Yeah.
face.
It's like renewing the vows.
It really
Yeah.
is. I do it, like,
Keeping it fresh.
probably even more often than once
Mhm.
every 6 months.
That's fair.
So I'm obsessed.
I know somebody who kind of renewed their vows within a few months of getting married.
I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
You know,
Probably not good.
I think it was more just a desire for another ceremony.
Oh.
perhaps.
I know who you're talking about. Just saw that.
Yay.
And no more need be said.
Uh-huh. I think it's hilarious, though.
It was kind of funny.
Mm-hmm.
Good times. Now that is just the perfect segue to get right onto this movie.
Here we
about-
go.
It's about vows. It's about somewhat estranged, entirely estranged friends. It's about it's about Ryan Gosling in a way.
True.
You
This is
know,
very
it's
true.
about
Ooh.
trying to obtain that which cannot be obtained,
Yes.
like our love for Gosling.
Can we remake this movie starring Ryan Gosling?
Oh my God, I would combust. Yes.
That actually might work.
It would be kind
Excellent.
of great.
I don't know that it would improve.
Right.
on what is here.
Not necessarily.
Because
but, like,
this is
Only
a
because of his
shockingly
face.
perfect performance.
Yeah.
But it would, his
but
face
just
would
for a reason to like put Ryan Gosling in this kind of setting.
Right. I mean, I'm always down
Not necessarily
for any
a
other
remake, I guess.
just any noir film, always down for it. Getting
Yeah.
Ryan Gosling in there as a lead of a noir film does work. He's a good fit for that.
Mm-hmm.
And also just having him in like the most 40s setting possible
Exactly.
would be cool.
Like he
Yes.
arguably has done
Amen.
noir with like Blade Runner, I guess, kind of.
Well, yeah,
stuff,
it's like
but it's
kinda
not
noir,
like
but kind of not.
it's different.
Yeah. It's definitely. Yeah, no, I mean, I think both of them kind of have a decent amount of noirness to
Mhm.
them, and that's probably why I like them as much as I
Right.
do.
It's like neo noir, I guess they call it.
It would be a neo noir,
Right.
yeah.
But like matching the setting would be cool. Anyway, not to derail that. What are we talking about?
No, we should just keep talking about that. I'm here all day. I'll clear my schedule.
We will continue talking about Ryan Gosling for the next 10 weeks, and then when we're
Yes.
done with that, we'll get back to
Okay,
the actual
perfect.
films.
Let me go cancel my flight to watch Cora so I can stay
What?
and talk about Ryan Gosling.
That
Yeah.
is fine, I guess. Watch Cora.
Sorry. I've seen snippets.
Snippets. So, we are here to talk about John Huston's 1941 adaptation of Dashiell Hammett's novel, The Maltese Falcon, which is undoubtedly one of the most notable noir films of all time, with incredibly memorable performances from the likes of Humphrey Bogart, Sidney Greenstreet, Mary Astor, Gladys George, and Peter Lorre. While it is the third adaptation made of Hammett's novel, it is one of the best and remembered by film historians and fans alike as being one of the first major studio examples of film noir, a genre which has become a vehicle for some of the greatest directors from all time, from Akira Kurosawa all the way down through, like, I guess eventually PTA, Denis Villeneuve, you know. The Maltese Falcon features perfect direction from Huston, a truly historic performance from Bogart, and an unforgettable score from Adolphe Deutsch, combining to make a film that frankly deserves its spot on this list. This is The Maltese Falcon.
Wah, wah, wah.
A good time.
Did you say
That's
it
a
was
good
the
intro.
third adaptation?
Yes.
They had
Mhm.
already done this 3 times in
Holy
1941.
shit.
The novel came out in 1930. The following year, they started filming the first film adaptation,
What the heck?
which was not quite as close to the book as this one, apparently. And not quite. It didn't lean in on it all the way. And then the
Okay.
next one had a different title. Let me see if I can find that in my notes somewhere. It was called Satan Met a Lady was the next adaptation
Whoa.
in 1936. And it was like entirely changed around. They changed major plot details and they made it into like a comedy.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Don't like that as much.
I don't really understand why.
Jeez.
And then John Huston was like, can I do this, but like do it like really accurately to the book and make
Like,
it
do it well.
real good? And they were like, yeah, okay. But this was his actual debut as a director. So
Oh, that's awesome.
he was. It's an interesting thing to compare with Citizen Kane because, like, we see Orson Welles being like, I guess I gotta make a movie. I will do a bunch of things because I don't know how movies work, and I will just accidentally make something kind of a masterpiece. I'll just spend a lot of time educating myself and do things very outside the box. Sort of this, like, almost exploratory version of filmmaking.
Yeah.
And that's really interesting, and that led to an amazing result, considered one of the greatest films of all time. This is also considered one of the greatest films of all time, but John Huston's, version of this is my first movie was, like, very different. He's like, okay, I'm going to meticulously adapt this from the book, be super accurate, do as much as I can to, like, honor what's happening in the book. And then, like, his screenplay was apparently so specific that, I don't think they pretty much didn't cut anything in the final cut from what they had
Wow.
shot. And he drew each shot. Like, he sketched it out beforehand. Like, he knew exactly everything that he wanted to happen, every little movement that every person made, and that was all there in the script. So all the actors literally just kind of rehearsed with the script, and he didn't really need to have any involvement in that process because he just planned every single little piece out. So then when they shot it, it was just easy as pie. There were basically no challenges on set.
Go off.
It's pretty impressive.
Go him.
That's
Mhm.
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I do think that's interesting. Like comparing like in the same year, really, right? Like I think they're both 1941.
Yeah, I think
Both
so.
of these like landmark directors who are also best friends apparently, or
Oh.
very close friends. Work
Cool.
together on a bunch of things.
Nice.
They both had their directorial debuts and were, you know, to some extent, pretty instantly critically well received,
Mm-hmm.
and had very different approaches. So I found that interesting.
Right.
Do we want to dive into a plot summary? I don't want to spoil it, but I have like just a little bit for the people at home who have no clue.
Yeah.
They just don't have a clue. You know,
I
those
think you
people
should.
like they
Yeah.
just like don't get it. And like, I mean, I guess I'm here to like try to help them along, but like, guys, get a clue.
Come
Seriously.
on.
Yeah.
Get with it.
Although I
Get
mean,
with it.
I think at this point in our watches, it would be probably, I guess I'll say this again, maybe best to watch these movies before listening to the episode, just because I would assume it would make it a little bit more entertaining if you kind of understand what, you know, when we're talking about a mostly visual medium, you know, it'd probably be nice to have some sort of visual in your head.
And then we
for that.
can spoil it because I want to talk
Yeah.
about this ending.
I think, so we will, but I think I want to mark out like when we talk about spoilers.
Yeah.
Fair. That's
Because
fair. Do it later.
I don't know, when it's a noir film, it's kind of, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's fun to not know what's happening.
It was fun,
even
yeah.
though it's not essential.
Not knowing anything about it, really.
And the very, very ending, like the last big interaction, is like maybe my favorite part.
It's real good.
So
Yeah.
Yes.
yeah.
Cool. All right, so I'll just do the brief summary. So
Okay.
San Franciscan private eye Sam Spade gets sucked into a dangerous case when his partner Miles Archer is murdered, tailing a man by the name of Thursby for client Ruth Wonderly. Sam quickly finds out that Wonderly's real name is O'Shaughnessy and that she was Thursby's partner. Now sucked into investigating the murders of Archer and Thursby, Spade bluffs his way through a cast of quirky individuals to find that the prize worth killing over is a Falcon statuette from the Knights Templar of Malta. Navigating his way through a twisty set of alliances, Sam manages to sort his way out of the tangled knot of treasure-seeking criminals.
Sam Spade is a great name.
It is. I like it a lot. And I like the way that some of the like beginning shots in that film are like seeing his name and his partner's name, like Spade and Archer, in like the window, like backwards, and then there's like
They're cool,
a
yeah.
reflection from another window, or like a shadow from another window cast onto the floor that says it like.
Yeah, you can read it normally.
And then when Archer dies, he's like, "You
Take it
gotta
down."
never place the names there."
Yeah.
You know? And
That's
then it
not a
says Samuel
spoiler.
Spade.
It's like the first thing that happens.
Mhm.
Blah. I don't know why I felt the need to reiterate that. You just said it.
It's good.
Anyway.
I found this really interesting. At first, I was like a little off-put,
Mm-hmm.
just because it's like so different than films that we've talked about more recently.
Hmm.
It doesn't have any kind of like emotional swell to it.
Mhm.
It's not like trying to be this big dramatic opera
Right.
or something, which like even to an extent Citizen Kane does.
Kinda, yeah.
Obviously something like Gone with the Wind does. I don't know, it just feels like that was almost kind of the film trend, was like having at least some kind of, for lack of a better term, grandiosity, whether it was deserved or undeserved.
Mm-hmm.
And this doesn't do that. Like, he gets the phone call that his partner died, and he's just like almost has no emotional reaction whatsoever
Mhm.
through
Very
the
cold,
majority
yeah.
of the film. It's interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
that's
just kind
true.
of his take on the whole thing. It's just very cold and distant. Like
Mhm.
he's in the thick of it, but like he's trying to kind of also keep it at arm's length to some extent, as much as he
Right.
can, sort of.
Which is classically noir. It's
Yeah.
great. It gives me so many vibes of what's it called? The book series that I have been reading. The Dresden
Oh
Files.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Feels very
Totally.
Dresden. and I really like it.
It was so.
Just kidding.
It seemed like such a stereotype, like when people think old Hollywood, like
Mhm.
detective movies.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, like that's
It's there for a
coming
reason
from
because
stuff
that
like
was
this.
it. Yeah.
Because this kind of like, it didn't. Well, I guess we can get into that a bit, but like it didn't invent this kind of movie,
Right.
but it's the first major studio version. It's the first time like Warner Bros. Just like went in on it,
Mm.
and that is like what kind of popularized this kind of movie. And then from
Okay.
there, it was like a big deal.
Right.
But before that, there were like other versions here or there that are just technically considered just early noir. They're not
Mm.
or proto noir. It's kind of at this point that they start really just calling it film noir.
Right.
Um,
I dug it.
is very cool.
So cool.
Mhm. So it had a $381,000 budget, which is, not tiny, I guess,
Yeah.
at the time, but it wasn't like a massive budget. It's about 6.7 million today.
Okay.
So, and Houston was obviously like very careful to not go over budget. He was just like, I guess that's the vibe of Houston, from what I understand, is he was like very hardworking and meticulous and planned out on set, and then outside of set he was like, partying and like, kind of doing whatever, living his life to the absolute max.
Interesting.
But when it came to his work, he was like just very well thought out and kind of calm and orderly, which is interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the novel that it's based on, I guess the author, Dashiell Hammett, I hope I'm saying that right, was an actual PI in San Francisco.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. And he actually named the character after himself. That was his middle name, was Samuel. But he wasn't like trying to be like, oh yeah, this is like my life, bro.
Right.
Because he was kind of trying to make Spade sort of the ideal image of a PI. Like, I guess what he was saying is kind of like, it's the kind of person that Spade was the kind of person that like every PI I ever worked with or met thought they were or wanted to be.
Huh.
That's cool.
So he
I like
just
that.
kind of,
Interesting.
he made this like platonic ideal form of
Right.
the PI or something. And it works because like, man, every performance of a PI ever is just directly informed by this performance.
Right.
I mean, I saw Casablanca and I liked Humphrey Bogart there, but this like totally did it for me. Like this was like so much more like, okay, this is the best performance. Yeah.
We love Humphrey. Yes,
It's
we do.
fun.
Have you seen Sabrina Reese?
I haven't.
Okay.
No, is it good?
Yes.
Is
That's
it-
where I first watched Humphrey Bogart, and I was like, yes,
Does that have Audrey? in
yes,
it? Okay.
which is why I watched it.
Mhm.
But also Humphrey Bogart was there,
He's
so
cool. He's not for me like the most attractive
No,
man
he's
in
not.
Hollywood,
no.
but he's got the kind of charisma that I think everybody
Yes.
ever wishes that they had,
Mhm.
and that pretty much nobody else has.
Exactly. And his name is Humphrey, and yeah, he's not that attractive, but
Yeah.
here we are loving him anyway.
We love him.
It's great.
Gosh,
Humphrey
dang
Bogart
it.
is not like an attractive name, but it became an attractive name
Humphrey.
because of him.
Yes.
Yeah.
Shout out to my film coaches whose dog hangs out at class sometimes, and it's this is so mean. This is ugly little like Shih Tzu mix named Bogart,
That's great.
and he totally makes these
Yes.
like humph sounds. It's like Humphrey Bogart.
That's so good.
It's pretty good.
So actually, Bogart wasn't going to be given the part of Spade.
Gasp.
They were going to give it to George Raft, who like I guess is known for like Scarface or whatever, like
Oh,
early on.
yeah.
He was kind of like one of the quintessential like kind of mobster actors at the time, and he turned it down because he didn't want to work with an inexperienced director.
Interesting.
He is known basically at this point, like that's kind of what we know him for most, at least from what I've been reading, is like the fact that he's turned down parts that would have been incredible, and then Humphrey Bogart gets them
Nice.
most of the time. Like
Wow.
he turned down parts in like
Awesome.
High Sierra, All Through the Night. Like there were a bunch of like big movies that he turned down. He also turned down a part in The Sea Wolf. I don't Bogart didn't get that part. I don't remember who did. But like
Mm.
big movies, he just turned down so many parts
He
all
big
the
movie.
time. And
Was he just narcissistic? Like,
it
too
was
good
just-
for it?
well, yeah, like some of them were like, well, I don't want to have to play the heel, or I don't want to have to work
Rude.
in an inexperienced director. He was always just like, no, I'm not doing that. Pretty much all the time, and then they
Entitled
become
men.
these like they would have been his biggest roles ever.
Wow.
You know.
Nice. Mm.
Hmm.
Of course.
That's interesting.
Hey,
Mhm.
it worked out okay.
Yeah, well, I mean, it worked out in a really big way because Houston was like so happy that Humphrey Bogart was willing to do this film
Mm.
that they started to get along really well, and then became like best friends throughout their entire lives and worked
Nice.
on like a trillion masterpieces together. Like there's Kurosawa and Toshiro Mifune, and that's like considered one of the most legendary film collaborations of all time. And then there's John Huston and Humphrey Bogart, and those are like kind of considered in pretty much in the same tier.
Nice.
There aren't quite as many as there are between Kurosawa
Right.
and Mifune, but like
Yeah.
there are, the quality is there.
How much of a career did Humphrey Bogart have before this movie? Do you know?
I think he was already a pretty big-ish deal,
Okay.
but like again, most of the big movies that he's remembered for now were starting at this time and
Okay.
after.
Makes
so-
sense.
Like The Treasure of the Sierra Madre
Yeah.
or The African Queen or Casablanca, we're all kind of post the Maltese Falcon.
Yeah.
But
Cool.
he was still a name
Gotcha.
for sure. Also, this was Sydney Greenstreet's first screen performance as
Ooh.
Gutman,
Nice. Mm-hmm.
and
The fat man.
it's pretty good.
He's good. I really like him.
The fat man.
He was a stage actor
Mm.
for a really long time. He was kind of legendary, and then
Mm.
they got him for this part, and it was like, oh,
Dope.
it was perfect. And I don't know how I feel about it. I think now we would consider a lot about this fat shaming, but they were like, oh man, he's perfect. He's like 300 pounds or something.
Yeah.
He's perfect.
And they're like, we just need a really fat guy, and we need to call him Fat Man.
Yeah.
And then his name is
His
Gutman.
name is Gutman. Yeah. Like
And
it's
it's
funny.
like-
Hey, they
call
were
him the fat
excited
man
about it. It
first.
wasn't a bad thing. It was what they needed.
Yeah.
I guess so.
I don't know. I would feel kind of weird being an overweight actor and being categorized as the overweight actor. He's the one that's fat. You could never. That line where he's like, you couldn't miss him. He's like 300 pounds.
Yeah.
And I don't know
Poor
why,
dude.
but Gutman doesn't strike me as somebody that's be like, oh man, that guy's obese. He's probably
No.
not okay or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know. He's the inspiration for that walrus guy in Alice in Wonderland.
No
I
way.
assume.
Oh.
That's not a fact.
No.
Wow. I was like, I can see it.
The
But they
time.
make it seem like at
I'm
the
so
time
mean.
that like there was no such thing as being overweight or something like that. That's the way that like he was talked about, and it's
That's
like I
fair.
don't.
Especially probably in the Hollywood scene.
Yeah, I
Like,
guess so.
So,
Bogart
at him
was,
go.
was pretty lean.
yeah.
I don't-
Lean.
why is that the thing? Like Hollywood actors have to be like, in that time especially, was like you basically have no muscle at all, and you've got a really big head, and you're kind of short.
Big head. Yeah.
That was what
That's fair.
they wanted at the time, and it's like
That's
man,
true. Humphrey Bogart has a big head.
He's got a really big head.
I think I said that the first time I watched Sabrina. I was like 12, and I was like, he looks like a bobblehead.
He is.
Why was he so
bobblehead.
successful?
He was made to be a bobblehead.
He was a talented bobblehead,
He's a
though, and
very
that's what
talented
matters.
bobblehead. Yeah.
Mm.
So, I already said all the things about it being the debut and about him, sketching every single shot, keeping to schedule. However, one thing that Houston wanted to do that he could not do, thanks to the Hayes office, thanks Hayes Code for sucking. So he had to cut out pretty much every sexual reference and minimize massively the amount of drinking. But Houston was like, but bro, like the whole point of Sam Spade is that he drinks like half a bottle of whiskey in a day. Like he
Right. Always.
just drinks all the time, and you can't
Yeah.
like minimize that from the character. But they still they managed to kind of get it in a little bit, but not make a big deal out of his drinking. And I feel like maybe that would have, I guess what the term that I think I saw was like falsifying the character.
Yeah.
And it kind of, I don't know. Like, it would
removes a little
probably
bit of
be a
that.
little bit more something.
Yeah, because I feel like even that trait is something that's baked into like the trope of that
Right.
kind of character now.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is kind of weird that you
That
have
his
an
guy was
early
like,
example
no,
that
you can't.
it didn't have it. Yeah. Hmm.
The only bit, apparently there's only one like major like scene in the novel that he cut out, which is just this bit where Spade is telling O'Shaughnessy a story while waiting for Cairo to get there at the apartment. He
Interesting.
tells her a story. That's the only thing they took out, I guess, of the book, which is kind of crazy because you think about a lot of, book to movie adaptations and you're like, oh man, it's got the same essence maybe, but like a majority of the things in there are not there. And he was just like, I'm gonna put it all in. I guess it must have been a short novel.
More people were like that today. That'd be nice.
Honestly. And he definitely was very highly regarded for the screenplay. Like, people are like, this is like a perfect adaptation. You've done a fantastic job, sir. And he's like, I guess
I'm
use
aware.
most of the lines. Well, he was actually, so he was a screenwriter before he was a director. So he was already pretty well known.
Oh,
I think he
okay.
had received some nominations and stuff like that before he started doing this. Actually, I guess I could go into that now if you guys are interested. I've got like a mini bio of John Huston.
I'm interested.
Because he's interesting. So he was born in 1906, died in 1987. He actually, like, early on in his career, he was a painter in Paris. That's what he was doing. So that's why he,
vibey.
he'd always sketch out things. He would, when he started directing, he was like, painting was one of the most influential things for me ever. And he would always make sure that he had, just storyboards upon storyboards upon storyboards for his movies. Then he moved to Mexico, and I read somewhere that he was like, I don't even know, like a wrangler there or something. He did a bunch of bonkers things, and then he began writing while he was in Mexico, and continued, writing novels, writing screenplays. Worked his way up to becoming like a pretty big screenwriter in L.A. Was nominated for, like, I think 2 Academy Awards as a screenwriter, and then he was like, sir, mate, I direct this film. And then he became a real big deal as a director. Like, instantly from the moment that this movie came out, people were like, oh, he's probably one of, like, the biggest deals in directors in ever.
Look at him go. Look at that glow up.
Mm-hmm.
And he wasn't even in a, like, painter in Paris?
Yeah.
What?
He basically
He's
did
fine.
everything.
Yeah. Wow.
He's lived in a bunch of different countries.
Wrangler in Mexico.
In 1964, he was like, you know what, I'm done with the U.S. It kind of sucks here. And so he gave up his U.S. citizenship and became a citizen of Ireland.
Ouch.
Yep.
I know we suck, but come on, man.
And then, I think he came back to live in the U.S. for a while because he wanted to continue making movies and stuff. But he was always an Irish citizen from that point on.
Okay.
Which is interesting.
Yeah.
So as far as Academy Awards go, he was nominated for 15 Oscars. He won 2. And he directed 15 actors to nominations themselves.
Oh my gosh.
And actually wins.
Wait, are any of those memorable?
Well, he actually, I read that he actually directed both his father and his daughter, Angelica Houston, to Oscar wins, which means that they were like the first 3-generation Oscar-winning family.
Jeez.
So
that's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
So yeah, that's kind of rad. Also, yeah, I didn't realize that he was Angelica Houston's dad.
Yeah, I didn't
cool.
even think about that.
Mm-hmm. Angelica Houston is in like a bunch of Wes Anderson movies and stuff. She's cool.
I was just telling Hunter I need to watch more of those.
Yeah, definitely watch The Royal Tenenbaums. That's probably her biggest role, but it's also one of my favorite ones. Do we have any Wes Anderson movies that we're doing?
I don't think so.
Grand Budapest
There's
Hotel?
maybe Budapest.
Oh,
It's
I
so
know
hard
who
to
she
keep
is.
track of them all.
She's in Daddy Daycare.
Oh, is she?
What?
So I do know her from my childhood.
Oh.
She's like the mean principal lady.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, no, she's done like very good things. So
Daddy Daycare is good. Highest of quality. It will be
Yeah,
our
I'm so
final
sorry.
movie on this podcast.
It will be.
Yes.
Mhm. That's one of those ones that they like shot up into space or whatever, right? One of those very significant.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Daddy
Definitely.
daycare?
Daddy daycare.
Wait, really?
No.
Oh, I
No.
totally believed you. I'm so not.
Okay.
My
That's
brain,
okay.
it needs sleep.
So he was married 5 times. He kept going through them. You know, he was like, "Nah, I'm
He's-
done. I'm gonna move on to the next one."
Been around the block a little bit.
And apparently, I read that he called in his autobiography, called his last wife like a snake. He's like, if I could have gone back, the one thing I would have changed is I would not have married a 5th time.
Oh my gosh.
So
Sucks to be a hoe.
I guess. I don't know, man. So he was close friends with Orson Welles, Ernest Hemingway, and Humphrey Bogart. And I like the comparison between him and Hemingway because like a lot of people at the time were calling him the Hemingway of the screen,
That's good.
which makes sense because he
Yeah.
is like, I will only film exactly what I need. I will be very like kind of Spartan with the way that I direct, and there's no need to be able to cut anything.
Right.
It's all just right there. And I don't know, that's really cool. That's really interesting. And it did make me happy that like, oh, he was like actually also friends with Hemingway. Like they had like very similar artistic styles, but they were also like pretty good buds.
Can you imagine that much like genius in one room?
Yeah. Also that much sexism. Like
True.
and both of them had issues with women.
Like the quote we said today. Sexist, but it's like still genius.
The quote.
Oh yeah. Earlier I said that I
Oh.
read something on the internet that said womanly advice is called old wives' tales, but men's advice is called religion and philosophy.
I forgot about that. It's so good though.
Yeah.
It like bothered me.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, carry
It's
on.
true,
It's
though.
my side plug.
So the themes of Houston, you know, he was really into the less uplifting endings. He did not really like pretty much any Hollywood trope. And so he's like, no, I won't make movies that just like end happy and are, you know, dramatic and fun.
You're right.
He's like, I'm going to make stories about failed quest, unsatisfied love. And he had religious themes of like, you know, people trying to be like, no, steer clear of the pleasures of the world. But like the point being like, nah, man, them pleasures of the world, that's my thing. I'm John Huston. Gosh dang it.
We do love those pleasures of the world.
So, yeah, he's interesting because he like, I can't really tell from reading stuff about him if he actually had if he liked his life. He did a lot of things, and he did a lot of things very well, but he was also like kind of constantly bouncing between things and changing his mind, and he was pretty sorry about that. He was pretty all over the place, I guess.
Yeah,
in
he's
some ways.
flaky.
He's a little flaky. Prone to change his mind in matters of his actual life, not his filmmaking, I guess.
That's fair.
But yeah, he was naturalistic with his camera. He the thing that I see kind of everywhere is people talking about the way that he constructs his film in the shoot, not in the edit. He doesn't rely on any kind of editing to make his films work or make them make sense. He shoots them, you know, chronologically in order as they are, and basically, you know, no editing needs to be done. And he specifically tried to construct his films in a way where there's no extra baggage. There's nothing that studios can cut, because he was just like, he hated studio interference so much that he would make his movie. So there's literally nothing you can take out of this movie. Just try.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of theatrical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have an interesting quote from him where he said, "To me, the ideal film, which I've never succeeded in making, would be as though the real were behind one's eyes and you are projecting it yourself, seeing what you wish to see. This has a great deal in common with thought processes. That's why I think the camera is an eye as well as a mind. Everything we do with the camera has physiological and mental significance."
That's cool.
Ooh.
Is very heady. It's very
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah. Also, he's like pretty well known for his voice, and so while I was reading that, I was trying not to do the voice because I can't do it very well. But I grew up with the Hobbit cartoon where he played Gandalf.
He did?
Yes. he was the voice of Gandalf
Yeah.
in the Hobbit
What?
cartoon.
We just
He was
watched
so
that
good.
like a week ago.
He
It was
I
the
wanna
fun.
hear
perfect
it.
Gandalf.
I saw it for the first time. It's
Mhm.
pretty good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I want to. Maybe I could find a clip. I don't know if we can play that on here. Can we?
Maybe.
Can we play a clip?
Could stick that in somewhere, yeah. I wondered if we should if it would be fun to stick audio clips into the podcast in editing,
Mm-hmm.
just bits of dialogue or something at the beginning or in the middle. It'd be fun.
Okay.
It'd be hard though.
I'm gonna play this. I'm sorry if I. I don't know if there's a way to get copyright claimed or something, but
No.
sometimes it just needs to happen. You need to hear his voice.
Bilbo Baggins? Yes? I am looking to hire a burglar.
Burglar? I'm afraid you've come to the wrong place.
You mean you do not wish to share a grand adventure?
Dear me, no. We hobbits are plain quiet folk. Adventures make one late for dinner.
Enough. I am Gandalf. And Gandalf means me.
Anyway, it's a classic. It's great.
Iconic.
So good. Anyway, he's a great voice, and he was. I wouldn't say he was as successful as an actor as he was as a director, but it's just he did everything, and everything he did was good. I guess
What's that like?
Man, I don't know.
Hmm.
Oh, I mean, I guess I might kind of know.
You do
I tend to be pretty good at pretty much everything I do.
everything.
Not to toot my own horn or anything, but I have been called the Orson Welles of podcasting. I don't know. That's
He's the
something I hear
bestest boy.
every once in a while.
He's
Yeah.
always on time.
Always.
He's
Hey,
sorry. I'm sorry. I'm not mad.
I'm paying for lunch. Okay,
Oh, you are?
I am.
I won't let you.
But yeah, no, he was also in. I think we mentioned this actually last week. He was the lead in Orson Welles' last movie that took forever to make, The Other Side of the Wind, which they filmed in 74 and 75, I guess, but
Oh,
didn't get
dang.
its release until 2018 when they finally were able to finish the edit, I guess. And I think
Womp womp.
Bogdanovich kind of helped finish it up. Yeah.
Mhm.
Anyway,
Holy cow.
but it was all shot, and then he wasn't able to get the rights to it. He wasn't able to just literally get into the editing room for his entire life.
That would drive me crazy.
It did.
Yeah.
It really drove him crazy. There's a
Mm.
good documentary about that on Netflix called "They'll Love Me When I'm Dead," and
Oh,
it's good.
I'm down for a good doc.
Honestly, I would rewatch that.
We'll do a Patreon episode on that.
That would be fun.
Ooh,
I want to do
Orson
one on
Welles
Orson
deep dive.
Welles. Yeah, that would be good. So there's a list of people that I feel like we tend to care about enough here on the podcast that it would be fun to do. I
Yeah.
think we should do on our Patreon we're doing deep dive episodes for the $10 a month or more listeners. Is the $10 tier or,
Something like that,
or is
12,
it the
I
$6
think.
tier?
I think 6 gets the weeklies, and 12 and up gets the monthlies.
Okay, yeah, that is correct.
I think that's it.
So for the $12 a month, you get our alternating between the Hannah horror episodes, which should be kind of fun. I think those are kind of videos, aren't they?
Right, yeah. While editing a podcast, I noticed that we mentioned the idea of live streaming them so that you could get the reactions.
That could be fun.
Completely
So maybe
live.
maybe how this works is we live stream them first while recording, and then we
Mhm.
cut together the actual
Yeah, you could get the
reactions
fun bits.
that are funny and
Yeah.
intersperse that with some discussion.
Right.
Anyway,
The
that's a good
Maybe.
time,
I
and then
don't
we
know.
alternate with director deep dives, I guess.
Yes.
So we'll go deep. Our first
So
one
scared
is
now.
going to be in the
So
filmography
fun.
of Charlie Chaplin, and by
Woot.
the time you're listening to it, it is up now because gosh,
been a
we're
while.
not recording in advance or anything. Gosh,
Because we are on top of things.
but yeah, so that one should be up, and then I would like to do one on Kurosawa, Orson Welles.
Yes.
A lot of those big boys. Mm-hmm.
We could just do more of those instead of horror movies with Hannah.
I'm sorry. We must give the
Maybe.
people what they want.
You were
One
supposed
of
Must
to
be
these-
terrified.
go
one of these
travel,
takes-
and I was supposed to get out of that.
No. One of these takes a lot less time than the other one
Mm-hmm.
and it's the horror one.
Mhm.
It's a,
Let's do like cheesy ones. Like I watched this super cheesy horror movie called Eli,
oh,
and it was so stupid I could handle it.
we could find
I
stuff.
feel like we've got to do some good spookers. But I really think that the first one you should do should be The Witch, because that won't spook
Yeah.
you. It's just
It's
really
really
good.
not.
It might actually just make you have an appreciation for horror movies.
Yeah,
That's what
It
it did
looks
for me.
spooky.
I really I did not want to watch it. I don't like horror movies, whatever. I watched that movie and then I'm like, okay, I
Yeah.
have a large amount of appreciation. for
it's
this
like
now, but I didn't.
mildly creepy, but it's not scary.
It's like eerie at best.
Yeah.
I'll watch it. I've heard that one's actually not that bad.
It's not.
It's probably not that bad as The Witch. It's
Yeah,
not
they're
That's
probably
what I
on
think.
similar
So
levels.
you're not going to get sucked
The
into
Witch-
either of them and be terrified.
Okay,
Right.
then I
You're just
can-
going to be like,
Yeah.
ooh.
Right.
I mean, it took me like a week to recover sleep-wise from Hereditary,
Yeah.
so
It's
which
not-
is fair.
Nothing is on the level of Hereditary.
I
that
know,
I've seen.
but I
Like,
still don't
you know,
really
that
want to
one-
have to
oh
recover
gosh.
at all.
it's its own thing. Yeah. so-
Anyway,
Anyway,
I digress.
yeah.
Anyway,
We'll find
so
stuff.
This film made $1.8 million in the box office, which is about $32.8 million today. So it was very profitable for how much they
Nice.
spent. Like it made
Nice.
like what is that? Like 4 times how much they spent.
that's
Mm-hmm.
that's a lot more than a lot of other movies we've talked about.
Yeah, and this is the first time I've actually seen statistics for how much it made foreign versus domestic, which is interesting. It made 967,000 domestically, which is about 17.6 million today, and 805,000 foreign, which is about 14.7 million today. So it's interesting. It did pretty much as well internationally as it did in the U.S.
Hmm.
So that's fun as well. It was pretty much instantly very well received. Got 3 nominations for the 14th Academy Awards. It got a Best Picture nom, Best Supporting Actor for Green Street, and
Yes.
Best Adapted Screenplay.
Woo!
So instantly his first film, he gets 2 nominations. Not bad.
Not bad.
Variety said, this was a quote from their article that said, essentially, I don't know if it's essentially because I think this is a direct quote. I don't know. I'm sorry. Don't blame me.
We're struggling.
Unfolding a most intriguing and entertaining murder mystery. Picture displays outstanding excellence in writing, direction, acting, and editing, combining an overall as a prize package of entertainment for widest audience appeal. Due for hefty grosses in all runs, it's textured with ingredients presaging numerous holdovers in the keys. A strong word of mouth will make the B.O. wickets spin. Which is just,
The what?
I assume that meant the box office wickets.
Right.
Will make the box office wickets spin
That makes sense.
or something.
Makes a
Hmm.
body odor wicked spin.
Gotcha.
Anyway, it doesn't exactly make sense to my brain what they said there, but it seems positive.
Yeah.
I think it's a good thing.
Ugh. So that's fun. I guess people really did like it at the time. Houston
Nice.
got a heck of a lot of attention, was instantly considered one of the best working directors. And also the studio wanted to make a sequel for some reason.
Hmm.
Oh?
It was literally called The Further Adventures of the Maltese Falcon.
Oh my gosh.
And they were going to get
No.
Houston to direct. They're going to get everybody back. But, this movie was kind of successful enough that they could never get everybody together to make it. So
Nice.
everybody was too in demand.
That's
But
funny. You've
They
got
would have
like
made it the following year.
the Scott Pilgrim effect of like making a movie with a bunch of like middling actors who went on to have massive careers.
Uh-huh.
And it's like you'd never be able to pull that off again.
Like literally everybody in that movie is a really big deal.
Yeah.
Like, oh gosh. Okay, let's just go down the line. I mean, Michael Cera,
Chris Evans.
Chris Evans. Isn't Audrey Plaza in there?
Yeah, a little bit.
Oh, nice.
Brie Larson.
Mm-hmm.
Anna Kendrick. There are more.
Yes, definitely. I'm forgetting some people.
Oh,
I don't know.
the girl who played Katara.
Yeah.
remember
Oh,
her
Mae
name.
Whitman. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Isn't that a little bit.
That's a lot of people already.
Yeah.
And then you add on to it everybody's favorite Mew, Mary Elizabeth Winstead.
Yes. Heck yeah.
Big deals.
Can't
Everybody.
believe I didn't
Big.
think of that. Anyway, but that's
Monkey.
what I makes me think
Big
of, because I always hear people talk about, like, at the time, like, 10 years ago, like, getting all those was like, eh. And then now it's like, no way.
What? Yeah, right.
So, yeah, it's kind of
Mhm.
like that kind of thing, I guess. Makes sense.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting because, like, yeah, a lot of these actors are considered legendary now, but
Mhm.
like, they maybe weren't.
Yeah,
before
relatively
this.
early, yeah, at the
Mhm.
time.
And then also, even though it was already the third adaptation of a book, they made further adaptations from this movie. Like, they did a radio adaptation.
Oh.
Or they actually did a few radio adaptations, I think. One of them
Mhm.
had Humphrey Bogart actually return.
I just came across that, yeah.
Really?
I found that, so I can couple that with another thing. If you have an Audible subscription, the audiobook for the novel is actually just like included with your Audible subscription, so you can just get
Really?
it. It's pretty short, and that's not a sponsored plug, but I wish it was.
That would be, we should get an Audible subscription.
And yeah, that'd be cool. Please sponsor us. But also, I did come across the radio play. There's like a 30-minute radio play with like Humphrey Bogart and Sidney Greenstreet on there. If you want to listen to it, it's very cheap, and that's how I knew that it exists. That's all. Carry on.
Interesting. They also did play adaptations. And they did a bunch of stuff that like actually got the original cast back. So I think it's funny they could get like the original cast back
Yeah.
for like a stage play, but they couldn't get them back for a sequel.
That's interesting.
Maybe Houston just like wasn't available as
Yeah.
well. Anyway, the modern reception is also pretty big. Like, it's gotten 100% on Rotten Tomatoes and 96 on Metacritic. It was considered the first major film noir by the Panorama du Film Noir Américain. It is one of Roger Ebert's great movies. It was one of the first 25 films selected for the Library of Congress National Film Registry, along with Citizen Kane. It's just got, like, pretty much every possible, accolade it could possibly receive. So, that's kind of rad.
Nice.
I don't know. Let's see. Do I have anything else in my notes that is interesting or matters?
No.
No, probably not. Oh yeah. Well, the shoot went so well apparently that Houston like just took the cast to a golf club to like chill and chat about literally anything else other than the movie because they're like, we are doing well. We have so much extra time. We
Nice.
just should hang out. Essentially, which is kind of rad. Apparently, it was just very chill. Everything was shot in sequence, minus some night shots. Yeah, it was super smooth. The actors totally knew what they're doing. He knew what he was doing. It was just easy as pie, which is crazy for a debut film.
Yeah.
And for a film that's also this well received. Like, you'd assume if something's going that well, you're like, oh, something's got to be wrong here,
I love that he was like so meticulous about the details and accuracy, but at the same time there was like a level of trust for all the actors and everyone to just do their job.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like he found perfect balance,
Yeah.
and I don't understand.
Everybody liked him. Like,
Yeah.
It doesn't really sound like anybody had issues with him. Didn't sound like he was like a crazy dictator on set. He was just professional and cool. And then, yeah, I saw some sort of quote that was like, he'd spend 6 days working professionally on set, intensely professionally, and then on Sundays would just as intensely play poker with the crew or something. He's just that kind of guy.
You
Wow.
can get the best of both.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do it.
Let's see.
Goals.
I wrote, despite this, the cinematography was still ambitious. The aim was to further dramatize the characters using unusual angles and lighting. A lot of stuff about the cinematography, like, makes the performances work. That is not something that you directly, like, instantly notice about it, which is kind of interesting. Because, yeah, it didn't have that feel of, like, Citizen Kane or Gone with the Wind or something where it's like, oh, man, this is shocking. It's impressive. I don't know how they did that. It's so unique. It didn't do that so much as it tried to very, like, subtly change the way that you see the film. But it was apparently still kind of a challenge to pull off. So, for example, the bit where Gutman drugs Spade, spoiler alert,
yeah.
and tells him a story and whatever, is like a 7-minute shot, which I just, I didn't even notice.
Yeah.
I think I watched that bit twice and I still didn't even like.
That's
It was
awesome.
just so subtle. I have a quote from the script supervisor on that. Said, it was an incredible camera setup. We rehearsed 2 days. The camera followed Greenstreet and Bogart from one room into another, then down a long hallway, and finally into a living room. There, the camera moved up and down in what is referred to as a boom up and boom down shot, then panned from left to right and back to Bogart's drunken face. The next pan shot was to Greenstreet's massive stomach from Bogart's point of view. One miss, and we had to begin all over again.
Jeez.
So that's kind of still bonkers. Also, Greenstreet's massive stomach. Like, just like the way it always has to be.
You're calling it out.
1940s fat shaming, I guess. Yeah, so like they were still kind of ambitious with the film. It just happened to go really well, which is, man, I've never heard of that in a film shoot. Like, you always dig in and you get like the Wizard of Oz type thing where it's like, man, there's just so much garbage.
There should be lawsuit after lawsuit for these people.
And everything about this film was like, nah, it was just good. Like, the film was received perfectly at the time. It's considered a perfect film now. It popularized the format. It was a directorial debut. Everybody on set was having a great time. They were under budget. They were like ahead of schedule.
Oscar
noms. You know what I
noms.
mean? Like, yeah, everything about it was just perfect, really.
That's fine.
It was crazy.
John Huston, we see you.
Yeah. Oh, actually, so it seems like the Falcon is kind of maybe a real thing to some extent.
Oh.
It's based off of the what's called the Kniphausen hawk, which was made for the 1697 count of the Holy Roman Empire, by the same name, I guess Kniphausen or something. It's now owned by the Cavendish family, and I put in parentheses next to that note, "This doesn't matter."
Unimportant.
Oh.
But here we are.
But you know, it's like this film just had like so little like in the way, you know, like there's so little drama around it that like this is like the kind of information you find when you do research on this movie. It's like, oh,
Fair.
they, you know, the set designer designed it after this real hawk that was encrusted with jewels.
Yay.
I also found some more information about that hawk. I guess it was auctioned. There are a few versions of it, and one of them was auctioned off in 1994 for $398,500.
The movie prop.
When you don't adjust,
Whoa.
when you don't adjust for inflation, that's more than the actual budget of this film had.
Yeah.
Which is
Jeez.
crazy.
Holy cow.
And then another version was sold in 2013 for $4 million,
Jeez.
Ooh.
which even when you do adjust for inflation, is pretty dang close to what their budget was. So,
I want one.
Well.
I have $4 million.
I knew you did.
Yeah, it's from the
Nice.
Patreon.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
It's because people love that content.
people really wanted us to get this tramp stamp.
They really did.
Yeah. Oh, this is the first episode we've recorded after actually making the Patreon.
Why would you
It
shut up,
actually
man in the corner?
exists.
Go away.
I'm gonna throw this
Aha.
mic at you.
Sorry, I spoiled the magic again. It
You
exists. You can
ruin
actually do it.
everything.
You killed the magic in my life.
Sorry.
I can't even look at you right now, and I won't. I'm gonna close
Nope.
my eyes.
The point is, the
do not
Patreon
see
is
it.
so popular. We made enough money to go get the tramp stamps and get them removed.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, it's a good time though. I would keep it. I might
Yeah.
keep it.
you should
I
keep
don't
it.
know. Like, I don't like if I would get a Chaplin tattoo, but
Mhm.
I wouldn't want it on my lower back. But
No.
like also it's a tramp stamp. I don't like you can't
Yeah.
not.
I feel like you
know?
have to for the joke.
It's worth it.
Yeah. You could just get two.
I could. I'll just get the exact same
Mm.
tattoo in two different parts.
Exactly.
Of my
I'd be like,
body.
I'll take two. One here
Can
and
you
one there.
copy paste this real quick?
Thanks, bro.
So now that we've talked about just the random details here and there for about an hour,
Almost an
how
hour.
do you guys
Woot.
feel about this film?
Oh,
It's fun.
I really liked it.
It's pretty solid. I liked it. I gave it 4 stars.
It's a good time.
Yeah.
I feel similarly. I think I bumped it up
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
because
I
for
think it deserves
me,
it.
yeah, like a noir film tends to be like, for me, better on a rewatch. Like the first time I watch it, I'm like,
Mm.
yeah, that's pretty good. Like with
Mhm.
Blade Runner or I don't know, Stray Dog or something. Anything with kind of a noir element to it, I'm like, pretty good. And then I watch it the next time and I'm like, oh, you mean masterpiece? So it happened to I don't know. I watched it and then I like walked away to like start writing my report, and then I like walked back into that room and it had started playing again. I don't know how.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just kind of sat down and watched basically another half of the movie, and I was like, oh yeah, I already like this better. So I bumped it up.
Nice.
Fun stuff.
It's a good time. Yeah. Bogart's performance is like, I mean, I don't know that it would be directly considered so, but like, come on, it's Han Solo to me. Like it's pretty good. Like
Yeah, I
he's
can
got
see
the
that.
same kind of charisma. And
Yes.
obviously, it created the whole concept of,
Right.
the PI. Like it's
Yeah.
just so influential. But it works so well that like, which I think is probably Huston's intention. It's like you have a film that, the plot is interesting, the plot is twisty, but he's not trying to make that the essential point, because it really does manage to serve as just a really good backdrop to just like experience that character.
Yeah.
And it's a really good character.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, that's like the thing that stands out about this movie. Like in the same way that Bogart stands out for having a really giant head, that character just stands out over top the rest of this movie as being real big.
It was definitely something that felt like it could be a part of like a series.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm like, oh, I can just see him and like some of those side characters that he clearly like has a history with, like in recurring like stories.
Yeah,
Like, it would make
for
sense.
sure.
It felt very
Like the detective
Rose.
shows we watch
Right,
now on
exactly.
repeat.
Exactly.
Yeah. Like it would work.
Man,
So-
his
which
his
felt
like
cool.
receptionist. I don't think I got the actress's name in there. That is like one of my favorite performances in that movie by far.
Really?
Like I think
She's
she's
fun.
really good.
Yeah.
And I think that character is really interesting
Mm-hmm.
all the way up until she like screams and just like fulfills the generic role.
Yeah.
But like before that bit, she's like got a backbone and she's like really
Mhm.
interesting and cool. And I was like, this is rad.
She fell victim to the sexism.
She did. Mm-hmm.
Love it.
Whoops.
The whoops.
It's fun.
That's what we call it in the industry. She fell victim to the whoops.
The whoops. The whoops whoops.
I liked it.
Yeah.
A very, very good time.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely one of those movies that I feel like I will rewatch for a very long time to come,
Nice.
Yeah, I think so too.
over and over and over again. I don't own it though. I'd like to own it. I think this is another film that Criterion does not have in their collection. They absolutely should, but we'll never get the rights to because it was some like Warner Bros. thing
Right.
that is now probably on like Turner Classic Movies, and they don't, they aren't nice,
Mm,
and that
Who
sucks for
knows?
everyone.
they're mean.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But you can watch it on Hubbo.
Habbo.
I can't.
Hubbo Mox.
Wait,
Yep.
is it on Habo?
It is. It's
Yeah.
not listed that way on Just Watch, on Letterboxd,
Uh-huh.
but it is there.
Oh, that's where I
Why
watched
did
it.
I pay to rent it?
No.
Oh, no,
I'm
Reese.
sorry. I thought
Because it
you would
said
find
it wasn't on
I
there,
had-
so I didn't go and look
I-
for it.
No.
I felt like it would be, and I went and searched for it, and it was there.
Yeah, like I thought it was
Sorry.
there too, but then I checked it on and it wasn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
Yeah,
is
double-check
incorrectly
Yeah, I
not
guess so.
listed on Just Watch. Sadly.
Tragic. Oh well,
Yeah.
it's
Oops.
$4 of my life I'll never get back.
Darn.
$4
$4
of my
of your
life.
life.
I'm so brilliant today.
Math.
It's a good day for me.
It is.
I'm gonna be honest. Definitely my best. Definitely my
This
best.
is a
day.
Houston
It's pretty
day.
good.
Because
Do we
it's
wanna-
so good.
Do
It's a
spoiler
Houston
bit.
day. I'm Gandalf. Gandalf means me.
Me. Are we spoiling things? Is that what we said?
We can
Spoily?
spoil things.
Spoilies?
Let's spoil things.
Okay.
Spoiler alert!
This is it. It's happening.
Now's your chance to turn this off.
Turn away if you don't want a spoiler.
Shield your
I just want you guys to
child
be
ears.
aware of what's going to happen. So essentially what's going to happen is we are going to talk about elements of this movie that we categorize as spoilers, which are things that you might not want to hear about if you haven't already watched the movie.
Yes.
And so this right now, when we say spoiler warning, what we are indicating is that we want you to turn away because we are going to say these things that you might not want to hear if you haven't watched the movie. So essentially what I'm saying is spoiler warning, meaning you'd want to turn off now, go somewhere else, maybe finish the movie and come back. But don't worry, we'll give you enough time to turn away.
Mm-hmm.
Hunter, could you just give us a rundown of essentially what a spoiler is?
It's a thing that happens in a piece of media
Or
like
meat.
in this case, a movie.
True.
Wait, a what?
Or meat.
You can-
Spoiled meat.
You can
Oh.
spoil meat.
Yeah, I guess
Yeah, it's
food,
back.
meat can
Yeah.
spoil.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's kind of different. That's like a
No, it's not.
subsection of
I
this.
think it's pretty similar.
Yeah,
But like if you're watching a movie and there's like a thing that happens that's kind of important and it's like a big moment in the story, usually in the latter half at least, that's a spoiler.
Hannah,
I'm glad
any
we're
thoughts on
having
spoilers?
this introduction on spoiler alerts.
I just feel like spoilers can be really summed up as like the thing you beg not to happen, and then it happens,
Yeah.
and your whole day's ruined.
Hmm.
So like, but
That's really-
all usually
sometimes-
happens so fast, so we just need to give them a
Mm.
minute to like think about whether or not they want it to be spoiled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So should we do like some sort of countdown?
Yes.
Okay.
I say 10, you say 9. 10,
9.
8,
9? Wait, I thought you were gonna say 10.
10.
9.
10.
9.
Wow, you
Anyway.
threw me off there for a second. I was like, wait, what?
Okay.
Okay,
Let's
I'll
just-
do a countdown.
Ah.
Okay. 10, 9, 8, 7. And again, when I get to the end of this, that's going to be like the time that we talk about the spoilers.
Yes.
So just be warned.
Right.
Okay, so where was I? I'll just... Okay.
7.
10,
Oh, okay.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. And again, when I hit to 1, that's when we can talk about the spoilers. You're
Yeah.
going to want to turn off. 1, 0. Okay, so now we are going to talk about
Spoiler
spoilers,
zone.
guys.
Wow.
This is a spoiler alert.
I'm 10 years
Turn off
older
now.
than I was at the beginning of all that.
Okay. Anybody have any spoilers? I don't feel like I have anything to say.
Twisty,
about them,
twisty
so
ending. Woo!
I
It's
feel like we're
lead.
done.
It's lead.
Ah.
It's lead.
The bird is not golden encrusted with jewels like they thought it was. It's
It's a
just a
fake.
hunk of lead and it's a fake.
It's
Mhm.
fake.
And the guys who actually want it are sad. And Sam's like,
Big sad.
He don't
I
give
don't
no
care.
Mm-hmm.
Did y'all see those twist endings coming?
Yes, because I've seen
the
this
Falcon
before.
being a fake.
Mine be that way.
I
yeah.
definitely saw that bit coming.
What about the
Makes sense.
lady?
The lady bit,
That was pretty well
was
hidden, I
good.
feel like.
yeah.
I
was
felt
good.
like that caught me off
That was
a
the
little
best
it
bit.
one.
wasn't like a kind
Yeah.
of moment, but
Yeah.
it was like that is a good character moment.
Just like,
yeah, like I was
ooh.
suspicious of everyone, but
Mm-hmm.
it was still good. It worked.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I don't know why I just assumed. Oh yeah, no, it was definitely Thursby, and then like nothing about it like struck me. Like I had to be, looking out for it because
Mm.
it's not really always a big part of noir. It doesn't always like, oh, there's some weird twist. It was this person all along. It's not like a whodunit generally,
Yeah.
So I wasn't expecting it.
Yeah, it's the kind of thing where it's just like, it happened. It's sort of a mystery. You'll probably figure it out eventually. And then there's like enough that happens along the way that you're like, oh, it was probably just this guy. It was whatever. And then you get that extra bit. It's just like, it was me. And you're like, oh. And it
makes
changes.
sense.
Yeah, it shifts things in an interesting way. And it's cool. I like
It
it.
is cool.
It's good.
It's
good
Yeah,
ending.
no, it just. I think the way that all that stuff gets kind of revealed is just this really like. It's satisfying in a way that I feel like isn't generally even done at whodunits, because
Mhm.
it doesn't feel like a reveal that you needed to be satisfied, and then they gave it to you, so then you were okay. You went from being like a little anxious to being like okay,
Right.
Yeah.
It was like I was already okay with the way that this was,
Mhm.
and then you just like gave me a straight shot of like
More.
yeah,
It
just
takes the
more
one
character
thing
moment.
that could have been like a positive outcome, being like, well, this was kind of worthless, but at least he got with a girl, and taking that and being like, no, she's the one who killed your partner, and being
Yeah.
like,
He
I
does.
guess you have to go to jail too.
And even his like weird sense of like apathy
Mm-hmm.
to his
Mhm.
partner's death, and being like, he's like, you gotta like,
Right.
something happens to your partner, you have to do something.
It's more
about
out of like, he even says, he's like, it's more out of duty
Mm.
because I was bound to that person more than any like feeling that I have for him specifically. It's like, I'm not like
And
broken
that
up
it
about it,
makes
but
it
like, he was
it's
my partner.
so depressed and apathetic and quintessentially noir. It's
Yeah.
perfection.
Yeah.
And that he doesn't really fully end up with the femme fatale.
Mm-hmm.
Everything about the
Mm-hmm.
I want to talk about the way he kissed her and how his thumbs, like, poked her cheeks.
What?
Sorry.
I didn't notice.
Did not
Notice
notice.
that? It was like, I think the first time he kisses her and he's holding her face and his thumbs kind of like poke into her cheeks and like go in circles. Like even after he pulls back, he's talking to her and he's
Awesome.
still like doing this. I was like,
oh,
that'd be so
boy.
distracting and
I
uncomfortable.
feel like I would hate that.
It looked very weird, but yeah, I don't know.
But
Maybe
I
he was
mean,
in the
so
moment.
does he.
True.
I
It's like
feel bad.
massaging her dimples.
You know, that's just something people.
It's
you know,
normal.
I like the idea of that just happening on set, and Mary Astor being like, "What are you?" And he's like, "That's how people do it, right?
It's passion.
It's
Passion.
it's passion."
She's like, leave me alone.
And Houston's like, "No, I think he's got something going on there.
Yeah.
I think that works. I say go with that.
Yeah.
That's definitely, or the idea just that Houston had that like sketched out in his like script. He was just like, man, he's got to, and you gotta press your thumbs right into the cheeks there.
Move them in
I
circles
love it.
till
It
she's very
almost-
uncomfortable.
I just
Perfect.
realized it almost has like a weird kind of harem-y protagonist thing going on because he's got two ladies that are interested in him to some extent,
Yeah.
and he kind of blows both of them off to some
Mhm.
extent, which is kind of funny.
Which fits really well in the idea of Hammett
Yeah.
being like, no, this is like what all of these PIs like thought they
Right.
were, wished they were. So it's
Yeah.
like this weird kind of like almost aware that it's just kind of a male fantasy type
Yeah,
situation.
there's this weird like character ideal of being like they have women falling over them, but they like don't notice, and they just are like,
or they don't care.
okay, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're just like, ugh, stupid ladies. Like
It's
it's weird.
Stupid ladies.
It's weird. It's funny.
You know,
I don't
those
know.
ladies,
It
they're
fits.
stupid.
Stupid
I don't know.
ladies.
I think
This is
all
a-
those ladies are stupid.
I don't know what my take is on that trope, but like,
I mean,
It's good.
They're rage.
Here.
I keep killing my partners.
I like it.
in the context of this movie, when you look at it as like being like some sort of weird,
I don't
fantasy
know.
thing,
Yeah.
is like it's interesting because it is in a weird way that it's self-aware that it is that almost less problematic in a strange way.
Yeah.
I don't know, or maybe it still is. I don't know.
I don't know.
It's not great. Like there
Yeah.
are still bits of this movie that I was like, oh man, that's just kind of very 1940s and very sexist in a way that is not good. Controversial opinion. Sexism
Mhm.
bad.
Hmm.
But-
Controversial.
Interesting take.
Yeah.
How dare you
I
say
know a lot of
that?
people would disagree with me on that, but
I mean,
Yeah.
maybe.
Ghost, like as the only woman on this podcast, I would like to say that I love sexism.
let me just cut you off there as the real feminist of the podcast.
That's right. Excuse me.
Mm.
Oh man, I love that bit. There's a podcast I listen to where one of the guys labels himself as the feminist of the podcast and constantly cuts off his female co-star. It's just like,
He's
as
like,
the feminist of the pod, I think I'll take this one.
I'm gonna need to cut you off right there.
And he just constantly mansplains things.
Oh gosh.
Oh, we love that.
It's so funny.
All in good humor.
Oh man,
Oh man.
gotta give
Oh,
credit. where it's
woman.
due. Oh, you're right. Oh man.
How dare you?
Oh woman. See,
Feminist.
okay, that's something I've been actually like really irritated about with my own speech is that there was a certain point in time in which trying to actually learn how to connect with guys a bit more,
Mhm.
I started just saying like, yeah, hey man, like just having the like direct address of
Yeah.
man at the end of things,
Mhm.
and that just became such an essential part of my speech now that like I say man to everybody, you know, like regardless of
man?
gender, it's just man, you know.
Yeah.
Or I'll see my grandma, I'm like, sup man, how's it going?
I bet she doesn't really
Interesting.
resonate with that.
No.
I know your grandma.
Yeah.
I'm okay with it because I'm a bruh girl.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, you're
Bruh.
total bruh.
Bruh. But, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I do want to have like a non-gendered direct address though.
Mm.
And like
Sup, homie?
something about
Homie's
like
a little more both.
yeah, but it's a little more bro.
Kidding,
and, like,
I
you
know.
Yeah.
Bromy.
I want to go for, I don't know. The thing is, if friend didn't sound in a lot of contexts just like a little creepy, like, hey, friend. Hey, friend. like I would go with that, but like
Yeah.
I know someone who says that
know.
all the time.
it's not
Hey,
bad.
friend.
It just
My dude.
Hey, friend. How are you?
and just seeing your facial expression while hearing that is just it's a time that I'm having.
It's a time. It should
It's
be
an
over.
experience. We could be done.
It's all good. It's all
I'm gonna go. I'll see you guys.
Okay, see you
around.
later.
So you guys can wrap up for me.
Yep.
I've
Yep.
got an appointment. Actually,
Check us
so
out
I'm just I'll dip
on-
out now.
Check us out on the movieoverloadpod.com and
Go,
Movie
go.
Overload Pod on Instagram and movieoverload _ on Twitter
good. Nice.
and Movie Overload
You're missing something.
on Patreon.
it wrong.
And email us at movieoverloadpod@gmail.com. And I might need help.
Gosh dang it, Hunter.
Rate us
Gosh,
on
Daniel.
iTunes. Leave
Give
us
us
a
feedback.
review.
Hate tweets.
Hate tweets. I'm not really sure what my random audience member is getting at.
Who even are you? What's going on?
This
Who's
is
that other man in the
the Movie
corner
Overload
yelling at?
podcast.
Is that a feminist?
I already introduced myself.
Boo.
I'm sad.
I'm sad.
I don't
Now
know.
I'm sad.
Did I miss anything?
I'm empathetic.
I think that's it.
You guys should quit while you're ahead.
Wait, no.
I hate
Come back.
it here.
Oh hey guys, I'm back from
He's
my.
back.
I was on a very interesting kind of religious journey.
Oh,
Oh.
nice.
I feel like I've redefined who I am.
Excellent.
And I've done something with chakras. I think
Mm.
Oh, the Avatar state.
I've achieved
Banana and
the
onion
Avatar
juice.
state. I almost died.
Excellent.
It was kind of scary.
Ooh.
It was all good things. But I think what I learned most from that is that people really should give at the very least $3 to us on Patreon. That's our shout out tier.
Bees?
That's the number one thing that I learned.
Please?
And that we do have a Patreon goal where we will get the Tramp stamps if we get a certain amount of funding. So
And buy our merch.
buy our merch. Oh man, we've got some great ideas for merch.
Fuck Woody Allen on the front. Ryan Gosling fucks on the back.
That's a real good one.
I just think that I would wear that. I
Pretty
would.
much. We
Also, I
also
should
want
talk
He
about
Big
Chris Evans
Monkey
more.
shirts.
I am so worried that's going to be taken out of context and it's going to be offensive, but I mean,
It's got to have
he
a picture.
big monkey.
It's got to have a picture of King Kong.
It should, yes.
Yeah.
He big monkey.
He big monkey.
There, no one can argue with it. He really is.
And
can
just
put
has
it
an
like-
arrow just pointing to
He
Yeah.
big, he,
Or
in
you
case you
could
were
put it in,
curious
like,
who we were
He
talking
big
about.
monkey.
He big
Arrow
monkey.
pointing
You could
to
put
a
it in
monkey.
like shocking thriller horror movie monster movie font
Yes.
from like old movie posters. That's
that'd
just
be cool.
like,
He
"Hey, big monkey.
Pop art. Monkey, yeah.
Should it be monkey with a Y at the end or just an E?
I don't know.
He big monkey.
Monkey.
Anyway,
Good times.
we plugged all the
This
things.
is a very valuable episode.
It really was.
For
Yeah.
all of us, I'm sure. I had a lot of deep thoughts to share, and you guys had a lot of deep opinions to spout back at me.
It was good.
Mhm.
That's all I
Indeed.
There
said.
was
It would.
laughing, there was crying.
Stop crying, Hunter. Get it together.
What's wrong? He's
I
just
know
always
you're
tearing up
sad,
on this
but, like,
podcast. He's just got
Because I'm
so many
yawning.
streaming tears. Just
Because none of us sleep at night.
silently. His lip is quivering just a little bit
Just a little bit.
all the time.
Because of all
Reese
the
is
abuse
grabbing his
that I
lip and
receive.
shaking it to imitate the
Makes me
quivering.
sad. No. Anyway.
It's like this.
It looks like
Can you hear that?
It sounds like
I hear the sadness.
Exactly.
All right.
Oh man, I want to die.
Get out of here.
Let us end.
Send me
The
out.
worst thing to say when
Cue
someone
me.
says I want to die. Get out of here.
Cue me. Get me out of here.
Thank you
Anyway,
for listening, as we say at the end of each fantastic installment of this Movie Overload podcast.
I'm a man who likes talking to a man who likes to talk.
well done.
I really liked Sidney Greenstreet's dialogue in this movie.
It's such a good line.
He has a lot of really
I am
good
a man who
lines.
likes talking to a man who likes to talk.
Yeah, like he's got so many good ones, and that whole scene, like
Mhm.
when they first meet and talk to each other, I'm like, good.
Good
I love
things.
it. That's all I got.
The end.
Ah.